Loud. Very loud. Okay, so this month I want to do a theme, and the theme is the solar plexus. And the solar plexus is all about, I call it the self ID. It's the self ID, okay? Like who you are, what you represent, your ideas, your willpower, your determination. Um, and a lot of that gets cluttered by outside resources telling us who to be or what we should do and all this other stuff. And I thought it would be nice to focus on health for this first week. So we're actually going to do diet and food, manifesting health, because once you remember at the beginning, we did the circle and we looked at all areas of our life. And usually when you start to put focus on something, right, the rest of our the rest of our life gets a little discombobulated or left behind. And then something gets distracted over here, and then we pay attention to the other section so that we have balance all in between. So I think it's a really good idea to look at the health aspect. And for some of the clients who have signed up, they're actually manifesting health. You know, they have returning cancer. They have issues that are big issues, then they want to know how to heal. So I want to go through what it's like to eat for the solar plexus and doing balance in the solar plexus for this week. So solar plexus transforms your ideas and manifestation into thought and actions and moves it forward. So if you remember, the first three chakras are all about connecting in with your spirituality. They're connecting in with, creation. The heart is the bridge. So it bridges your spirituality to the physical world. The bottom three, starting with the solar plexus, is the physical world. So you're actually putting things into motion or making action happen. Okay. This is the number one imbalanced chakra for people, like across the board, because there's so much. It's also your self-love fits in here, right? So you think your heart's for self-love, it's your solar plexus, because that's where you're doing your internal mental work, like, well, you can't fit into that. You're too big, or you can't do this, or whatever your mental processes that come out. You try to balance your work life with your play life in the solar plexus. And a lot of times we go one direction versus the other. And then we get stressed out. And what do? We eat. Right? Like if I'm trying to write a program, I sit there and it's not that I get stuck. I go, oh, I just need a break. And I go in the kitchen and I grab some chips or whatever I grab just to reprogram my thoughts. And then I come back to the computer and I start to write them out. And that's not a good idea. Right? That's not where we need to go with that. So your food intake, when you start to watch your food intake, what you're eating, how you're eating, the time that you're eating, how many times you eat during the day, it all correlates in with your inner work. And that's the really cool part about it. So here you're like, trying to manifest something and you're putting all this pressure on. You might have an overactive solar plexus or an underactive solar plexus. And we're going to talk about both of them and how to balance them. So solar plexus governs your pancreas, your gallbladder, if you have issues with your gallbladder, your liver, and your stomach. And it's all about your energy. And I just want to go over, if you guys have seen this book, it is my favorite book beyond favorite books, The Secret Language of Your Body. Oh, I love that, Jess. Did I tell you about it? Like, this is my number one. When clients come to me, I'm like, what's going on with you? Let's look it up. Because it's so detailed. And I'm going to be very honest with you. When I looked up, was it in this book? I'm pretty sure it was in this book. The MS, it like nailed me to a T. And I was like, oh shit. Like I see my problem right there. But I want to read a few of them to you so you can be like, oh, I get that. Or how people are like, I have issues in my gallbladder, and then doctors are taking out gallbladders like left and right. And they don't know why, right? Well, what's the process for it? Why is it, have inflammation? Is there anything in your diet that you can change so that there's not inflammation? Like all those things need to be addressed. But anyhow, let me go. Multiple sclerosis, putting other people and commitments first, pushing yourself too hard, overworking, holding a limited point of view, rejecting, neglecting, self-sabotaging, and feeling disconnected from yourself and others. Exhaustion. And I'm like, right? It's always like everything, right? Every disease always has an emotional component behind it. And that's why I love this work so much. So gallbladder, I'm going to look this up and read gallbladder to you. Now, sometimes it doesn't fit the scenario and you have to do a little bit deeper. So I'm not saying it's like, you know, full on, this is what you need to go for, but it gives you a direction or a starting point. She actually doesn't have gallbladder in here. She has gallstones. Grief, feelings of resentment, irritability, depression, disappointment. Okay. So people who have that, like, why aren't we addressing? There's a bigger picture. There's a bigger picture through all this stuff. So liver, stomach, gallbladder, and pancreas. If you have any of those issues, if you have a mystery pain in your stomach, you know, or maybe feel bloated or something, we need to figure out why. What's the emotion behind it? Is there an imprint behind it? Can you fix it with food? Okay, because what you eat, and everybody's, when I went to, I took integrative nutrition health school, and which is a humongous program, big school, everything. And they always teach you that what works for one person won't work for somebody else. So even if you go to read a book and you're like, you know what, you need all the carrots to help you heal XYZ, it might not work for you because there's a different energy behind the energy of the disease or whatever you're dealing with. Right. So we're going to go through the yellow stuff for the gallbladder or for the stomach and everything else. But know that just because it's out on paper, sometimes it's not the answer. You know what I mean? Like it might be something else. All right. So I'm going to start you guys off with, I also took another program. It's called Food and Spirit. So it connects spirit in with food with Dr. Deanna Minnick. I'm still a practitioner with her. I think that she's fantastic. So you can look her up as well if you like health and nutrition. So the fire element is the solar plexus element. Woo! Says, we live in a power-hungry, stress-filled society that is always expecting more and more of us. Our ability to maintain balance in the middle of chaos becomes increasingly difficult when demands and responsibility begin to pile high. We try to accommodate and stay in control by saying yes when we really mean no. And after a short while, we feel burdened with life and everyday events become troubled. Can you guys hold on for 1 second? I think I locked my kid out of the garage. Hold on for 1 sec. Sorry, I totally forgot I did that, but I just heard this little knock. I was like, why is there a knock? Well, that makes sense. All right, so let's start off with a balanced solar plexus. And I want you guys to figure out what you have, okay? I'm going to give you all these characteristics. If you're underactive or if you're overactive, and then we're going to work on that for the week. It's the color yellow. Okay, good. I didn't feel like wearing yellow, but I did. All right, balanced. So, wrong page. There's different things that we look at within a profile, okay, within a solar plexus. We look at the foods that they're eating, the body, and the personality, okay? So if they are balanced within, they eat foods and carbohydrates that are moderate in the glycemic index. So carbohydrates has everything to do with the solar plexus. Fiber has everything to do with the solar plexus, okay? They typically choose complex carbohydrates and foods high in fiber, and they don't like do sweeteners all the time. They choose healthy sweeteners such as brown rice syrup, honey, maple syrup. They may drink little to moderate amounts of caffeine and choose a combination of warm and cold foods. It's all about temperature. You know, when everybody's like, you know, her temperature, her body's really cold all the time. And everybody's like, you have cold hands or cold feet. So it works with that too. The hot, it's the fire. You have too much fire, too little fire in your body. Eating makes time to eat, even if they have a busy schedule. Will delight in every dessert every once in a while. Eats at a moderate pace, eats small meals, minimizes eating on the run, and plans meals to fit a busy schedule. Feels good about energy after eating foods. Their body type, there's no significant belly fat. They have a healthy liver. They have healthy blood sugar levels, relatively healthy digestive tract with only like minor issues, right? So sometimes you might get bloating, but it's not all the time. It's once in a while. No extreme temperature changes with eating and minimal stomach upset, if any. Their personality, it's interesting how it all flows together. Your personality with your eating, all connected. I love it. Okay. Balances their busyness with their ability to enjoy life and take time off. Determined but not overly competitive. They have a healthy ego, realistic goals and expectations of the self, enjoy the process of achievement rather than sees everything as a mean to an ending. Like after I do this, this is the end of it. I reached the end of this goal. You know what I mean? Knows what and how much they can take on, works at a steady pace, and working a little bit more when needed, but being sure to get lots of playtime in. So do you feel like you have a balanced solar plexus? Maybe. All right, so let's go to overactive. Overactive, remember when I scan people and I'm like, that circle's really, really big. Well, there's a lot more to it than that. Like in my mind, I'm going through all of this in that. Foods, people who have an overactive solar plexus, they eat foods high in sugar and simple carbohydrates. Okay, not complex, we're talking about simple. May not eat enough fiber, adds sugar to foods, may eat artificial sweeteners, eats highly processed convenient foods, like you just throw it into the microwave for 30 seconds. Sensitive to spicy foods, may drink energy drinks, may drink excessive caffeine, likes cold drinks and prefers cold foods, may drink soft drinks with ice, may drink foods with corn sweeteners such as corn syrup, corn sugar, high fructose corn sugar, and are drawn to yellow foods like bananas, corn, or corn-like products like chips, potatoes, and oatmeal. Okay, that's my profile. I know this one very, very well. So eating, forgets to eat due to being busy, eats sweets foods as a reward for working hard, eats fast, eats to keep energy high, may make one large meal the whole day. You know, like typically at dinner, they just eat one, or lunch. Like I'll eat lunch and I won't eat anything. And then I teach and I come up at 9 o'clock and grab Pop-Tarts. And my husband's like, how do you do that? I'm like, how do you not have Pop-Tarts before you go to bed? Like, come on. Schedule determines eating habits, stress eater, multitasks while eating. Eating may be triggered by energy crashes. So if you think about having coffee in the morning, like I have 3 cups of coffee. I like fit this profile to a T. So if you have any questions, I can fill out all the missing blanks on it. I'll have the coffee in the morning, right? 3 cups, and then I'll crash. And actually I can go to sleep. So I'll go to sleep after I have 3 cups of coffee because my son sleeps. So we get up at 5:30. I do work until 6. He gets up at 6. I play with him. We walk the neighborhood. I get all collected for the day. I have my 3 cups of coffee and I go back to bed. So from 9 o'clock until 11 o'clock, I take a nap on 3 cups of coffee. I wake up. I'll probably have a Sprite or some kind of soda. 3 o'clock, I have more coffee because my husband makes coffee. So I'll have 2 more. And then it's like my energy goes up and down and up and down and up and down, right? It's crazy energy. Body, excessive weight in upper belly area. So you're talking about up here and not necessarily down by your hips. May have overactive liver dysfunctions. So liver related issues such as hepatitis, fatty liver, pain, plagued by hot digestive complaints after a meal. So anybody who has ulcers in their mouth or in their belly, that might come up. Acidic stomach, upset stomach, GERD, burping, feels hot after eating. Like all of a sudden you get that hot flash that just goes over your body. Blood sugars run high or is on blood sugar lowering medications, may have a flushed face, especially in your nose. Yeah, so that's body. And then personality, type A, over the top go-getter, excessively busy, borderline egotistical, competitive with others, overly perfectionist, high achiever, doesn't accept failure, difficult to stay balanced between workaholic, they're considered workaholics, says yes to everything, tightly wound with high expectations, concerned with work and reputation, works hard and wants a large return, wants life to go their way, overthinks, bombarded with too much information. How does that sound? Right. So the last one is underactive. Okay. Underactive, not particularly drawn to carbohydrates or sugar, but will eat if presented. Right. So if they're there, they're kind of like, nah, okay. Like my daughter eats a freaking salad every time we're out, every single time. And I'm like, don't you want like pizza or something or mac and cheese? And she's like, no. I was like, how do you do that? Like, how do you do that? But that's naturally, she's following the rhythm of her body. Prefers spicy food because these people tend to be too cold. So they want things to heat them up, to warm them up. Sees food as a punishment rather than reward, or avoids cold drinks. Eating, lack of appetite, may end up snacking throughout the day since the larger meals tend to deplete their energy, gets tired of eating. Body sugars run low, feels cold with hands and feet, belly slightly inverted, abdominal discomfort after eating, so they're prone to gas and bloating, sluggish liver, and undigested food and stool. Personality, poor self-esteem, lack of initiative. Some may perceive as lazy or unmotivated, not particularly into work, more involved with personal time, may feel that they can't keep up with all the competitive people in their life, settles for being mediocre, resentful for those who are successful, and not overly concerned with planning or scheduling, may have a victim mentality. And that is really, really important. You know, like, well, it's not my fault, it's their fault. Just can't do it, right? And I'm like, I meet everybody who has all different types of solar plexus. And I'm like, well, why don't you just make a schedule and get used to it? Because I'm overactive. So I'm like constantly overachieving. And they're like, I can't even perceive that, Amber. Like, it's not on my list to write anything down. So may have that victim mentality that society has done wrong to them rather than taken ownership, and feels like life is unfair and will give up easily. Okay. So these are all, interestingly, their profiles to the solar plexus, and has everything to do with your energy levels. It has everything to do with, you know, how we said at the beginning, everything's connected, no matter what you do, no matter what you're manifesting in your life. Okay. So this week, I really want you guys to pay attention to where you are at. Do you feel like you have overactive or underactive or balanced?
I mean, when you did the description,
Sorry, I have to just turn down my volume. Go ahead.
I think I'm more balanced overall, but I definitely have like the personality traits of the overactive.
Okay.
You know, and it's not like I don't eat sweets and complex carbs and all that. I do, but I try to not. And I don't seek a lot of caffeine, just some in the morning. And I don't even need it because I'm so revved up already, but I do drink. But no, yeah, I don't know. It was interesting because I mean, the food part you said about the overactive, I think I'm definitely more with balance, but the personality definitely kind of overactive.
That's good. So it's good to know because you always break it down, right? What's my physical body need, my mental, my spiritual, my emotions that are going on. So always looking at all four to keep us into alignment. So knowing that your mentality is for the overactive, when you tend to go during that direction, it just means that you have to watch out your food a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like I am very much, I can take this on, I can do this. And if I have nothing going in my life, I am so bored, right? I love to be busy. It's like, and people are like, I don't know how you do what you do. And I'm like, I don't know how to not do that. It's like, it just is. So it's working with what you are, your blueprint, and then going, okay, how can I balance it out a little bit more this week? Or where am I at? Because when you start to have stress in your life, then it puts havoc on everything going through you. Then you start going, oh my goodness, I can't fit in my jeans anymore. What happened here? Oh, I'm stressed out. It's because I hate my job or whatever it is that adds up. So Denise, which one do you reckon, or do you mesh with the most?
I would say probably balance. I do have some, unbalanced traits. Definitely not over. Um, like I gave up all caffeine. When I first started on this journey 2 years ago, I went to water. And I got this circle bottle, and I live for this thing. I take it everywhere with me. I take it into restaurants like it's just water, and so that's
That
my
works.
biggest thing is the water. But definitely, definitely balance. I think I do have some traits that aren't the best as far as myself. Unbalanced. So
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go through the overactive for the nutrition, the balanced, and also in the underactive. Like, well, what do you do? Like knowing where you are, how do you maintain it, or how do you keep yourself in the flow of balance? So all this month, I want you to keep checking in with yourself and your energy field on how to maintain where you're at, because ideally you want to have, and there's only two people my whole life that I've ever seen perfect chakras. Like I've given many sessions, and it's when you're completely in alignment with who you are that it goes in balance. One girl was getting married, and she's like, tell me my chakras are all aligned. And she was all aligned because her energy was all aligned with what she was doing, where she was at in life and everything. And that was super amazing to watch. Ideally, that's where we would like to be at, in the balanced flow of things. So nutrition for the overactive: minimize added sugars or high glycemic impact foods, such as foods that are processed or high in sugar and low in fiber. And anybody who's watching this on the replay, there is a cookbook that I love, and I'll show it to you guys. Can't remember what it's called, but she makes the best recipes, and it's like a no sugar, it's like a sugar-free diet, and it's delicious. So I always go for those type of things when I get my stuff together. All right. Aim for 30 to 40 grams of fiber per day. Avoid sweeteners, artificial sweeteners. Refrain from drinking soft drinks and energy drinks. Minimize indigestion of caffeinated beverages to a moderate amount. Minimize fast food. Find ways of planned eating rather than all in one sitting. Have at least one meal weekly in which you take time to prepare and savor the meal. Like you really enjoy making it. Reward yourself with healthy foods or non-food items. Monitor the amount of food you are eating in every meal. So aim for no more than your two hands can put together in one sitting, right? Don't overeat. Include at least 5 to 7 servings of yellow, whole, plant-based foods or green yellow foods that are high in, is it lectin? I hate saying that word. Lectin. No. Lutein. It's a nutrient. Okay. In your daily diet every week, such as lemons, grapefruits, pineapples, fresh corn, yellow bell peppers. I'm actually allergic to citrus and it breaks my heart. Yeah, because I'm always like, let's go have some lime water. Like I need something in my water. So I go for limes, but I'm allergic. Yeah, stinks. So I have cucumbers in mine, and cucumbers is actually very hydrating, extremely hydrating. So for a person who is very dehydrated all the time, I have to do cucumbers, not lemons, but I love the taste. I love the taste. Assess whether dietary supplements is warranted, specifically with respect to digestion, stress, and or metabolism. All right, balance for all my balance people. Continue to balance your everyday living and continue eating using the strategies you have already put into place. Revisit those strategies periodically with the intent to revise and transform them into what is needed to help you adjust your input and your output. So a lot of people, they do a lot of input, but they don't put a lot of output, meaning they don't exercise. They don't do things for your body. They just grab the chocolate chip cookies or whatever it is. So you have a lot of input. Balanced people have an exchange of even input and output. Focus on regular eating times. Keep your stress in check and refrain from eating during stressful times. Continue to be discerning in your carbohydrates intake. So quick burst sugars and sustaining release fibers when you need them. Example, like if you do anything white or white breads, that's a quick burst of energy versus your whole grains that your energy is more sustained with it because of the fiber count that's within it. Include at least 5 to 7 of yellow whole plant-based foods. And again, that's the lemons, the grapefruits, the pineapples, the fresh corn, the yellow bell peppers, and assess whether dietary supplements is warranted. So that's her balance. So y'all keep doing what y'all keep doing, okay? And then underactive. See how you can schedule eating activities within your day to ensure that you have adequate, steady energy to perform the tasks. So you're not up and down, up and down. Track which foods make you feel fatigue and take away your power. Think about that. So like coffee takes away my power, right? Because you go up, I hit this I'm dancing in my kitchen. Like I have so much coffee and my husband's like, what is wrong with you? And then I spin them around because I'm like, I feel so good. And then I crash, right? That's not good. So eat regular meals at scheduled times, preferably 3 moderate meals a day and 3 small snacks in between the meals. Include foods that provide a sustained slow release of energy, such as beans, whole grain, nuts, and seeds. Ensure that you get 30 to 40 grams of fiber and eat 5 to 7 servings of yellow foods. So that's it for the underactive. So in our program that I was working in, we have a chart and we would have to actually go through all the colors of the food that we ate every day so that you could see what you're missing and what you eat too much of. So you're looking at all the fresh food and fresh vegetables. Like what color do you guys think you eat the most of every day?
Green.
So you have green smoothies, green salads, those kind of greens. Okay. Isn't it interesting? Can I just say you eat what you're working on. So you're working on your heart because green's for your heart.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah. I don't do a whole lot of yellow though. I never thought about it before. It's very interesting though to track the colors. I'm going to do that.
Okay, fantastic. Jess, what color do you eat?
It's a good question. I try to eat colorful foods, red onion, orange, but again, I think I'm missing some yellow for sure. But yeah, greens, I don't know. Not a lot of yellow though. Bananas, but not regularly.
Okay. So like today I told you I'm on 3 hours of sleep in the past 48. So I'm like, oh, I would love to have banana toast. Like that's my favorite, right? But then I put almond butter on it for like a little protein to add in with those sugars so that it's more stabilizing than just having the banana because I have it with coffee. So it's more like that uplift of sugar again. Or even like oatmeal would sustain energy and bring it so that it's more long lasting. I'm not talking about instant oatmeal. I'm talking about regular oatmeal. So it's interesting when you start thinking about your energy fields, how they work, what's coming in, what's your output. A lot of people have fatigue. They have, adrenal issues because they're just up and they crash and they up, or they're on the flight and flight. There we go, mode. So solar plexus is all about carbohydrates and watching your energy flow come through. So it's pretty cool stuff. All right, so I'm going to leave you guys with questions for journaling this week. Examine your sweetness in life. Do you eat sweet foods to compensate? So usually we tend to eat sweet foods when we're missing something in our life. And the other question is, if you have 100 coins to spend, like 1 to 5, where would you spend your energy coins at? Right? Like what during your day gives you energy? What depletes you of your energy in general? When you go to work, does it energize you? Does it deplete you? Right? Do you go up and down? Are you sustained with energy all throughout the day? That's a good clue to see if you're balanced in your solar plexus. Some people will drain you. Right? And you're like, oh, I don't want to get around them because I know after this, like I avoid having phone calls with people because I know, that they're just going to suck it all out of me. And they have no clue. They're just nice people. You know what I mean? Like they're just trying to be nice, but whatever. What foods cost you your energy? What foods give you energy? And actually, I have circulation issues too. And I find greens, so having salads really helps circulation as well. Just want to add that in there. So solar plexus is where your stress is. It's where you feel anxiety at that comes up. And we want it to be ideally balanced. So that's going to be the work for this month. Is it exciting? I actually love this stuff so much that I created a cookbook. And I got to figure out how that's going to fit into my vision. Because when I went into foods and transforming the MS and everything and what happens in my life, that's why I became a practitioner. Then I started making a chakra cookbook. And it's fantastic. It's just staying on track with it. It's good stuff. All right, so I'm going to give you guys the log for this week too, to track your emotions or track the foods that you eat, the colors. And I want to see what color you eat more of or less of, or you don't get in. The only trick is the blue and purples, because there's not a lot of blue and purples. You have purple cabbage, you have eggplant, not a lot of purples. Oh, what is it?
Beets.
Beets are well, they're considered red.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They look
Like,
purple.
I love beet juice. But you know what? It's high in sugar. So if I'm or I love carrot juice. Oh my goodness. Carrot juice is like my favorite. Adding that with ginger and some turmeric in it is like my favorite juice ever, but it's high in sugar. It's natural sugars, but again, it's feeding that sugar. And people who have like cancer, you don't want to give them sugar. Like that's the number one thing that you need to let go of, because sugar amplifies and feeds off of the bad things in your body. So there's cancer cookbooks out there too. And it's like just for cancer, and they eat beans, which is your fiber, right? And they eat things that are very slow. Beef, meat, that's all root chakra. That's all being grounded. So if you find yourself like craving meat all the time, it means that you're not grounded and you're not present, because animals are closest to the ground. Our meat is standing on the ground, the beef and the chicken and those type of things, whereas our fruit go up. It's cool. It's like so neat that your food does all of this stuff that you're kind of like, I just went for the chips. Like, what does that mean? Awesome. So that's the work for this week. Okay, do you guys have any questions at all?
I just want to say, like, my mind is just blown. Like, it makes sense, and I never even thought about it before.
Oh, thank you so much. 'Cause
Never.
my internal side went, why are you doing nutrition? Even though I love it, but it's all connected in. And as I've been helped, so I told you guys last time I've been doing a lot of MS groups. And I'm like, how come it's not taught? Like, how come all this stuff is not mixed in with manifesting and creation? Like, how do you manifest health if you don't know anything about health? Or you don't know anything about your foods? It's like really cool stuff, and it fits into your chakras. I love chakra health. So I'm going to upload some of the recipes so that you guys can see recipes. If you have any suggestions, like, say you made an awesome corn something this week, right? Add it in, corn and bean salsa, whatever you do. You made it on your quesadillas, fantastic. Like, add it in. Or yellow squash is another one. That's really good. Spaghetti squash. I went to go get it from Wegmans last week and they don't have it yet. No, I'm too early. It's still summer, but you can look for it as well. So those are nice yellow foods. So I'll make a good diagram with all of our yellow foods and just let me know what you guys eat during the week. Pretty cool.
Okay.
Thank you so much for sharing. I just want to go through and hug you because I appreciate your comments so much. Thank you.
Thank you. This is fabulous. I never even dreamed in a million years. It makes so much sense though. This is just one class.
And how you can help people, like in general, that come to you and everybody thinks it's all mental, right? And changing your
Right.
mentality around it, but it's not. Like, your food contributes to it as well. It's your
Yeah.
fire. So food is the fire element. Okay, fire meaning keeping your energy going. So people who feel depleted and need more energy, they need to have like a higher, like a lot of times, spice. People are like, no, I hate spicy food. I can't do ginger. I can't do whatever it is. And it's because they probably have an overactive food profile, right? So you want to find this balance. So like last week, my husband went out, I ordered $60 for myself of Indian food. I ordered all different types of little plates. It all came to my house. And I was like, I'm going to have enough for 3 days. I was like, what am I going to do with this? But I don't have spice in my life. So I was like, all right, I'm going to add it back in. We're getting back on the train, Amber. So it's really neat. So spice is the heat for people who, but a lot of people who are type A personality, they have too much heat. So they need more coolings. And like, you'll find out that people who are very, go, 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 they don't want to sit down and have a salad. It is the hardest thing to do to say, hey, why don't you go have a salad? They want a hot meal. So you'll find personality with food. It's awesome. It's really cool stuff.
It is very cool.
Awesome. All right. I will let you guys. Oh, I told you there's the sound healing. Okay. I think it's the 17th, 18th. It's the 18th with Cheryl. That's coming. And then yoga with Katie. So that's officially in too. And I was like, that's going to be so awesome. So
Oh, yeah, I'm saying.
yeah,
I'm really excited about those additions. That'll be awesome.
I think it's going to be fantastic. Well, that's the other, on a complete side note. Hold on, I'm going to end class for a minute.